Chapter 716. The men surrounded Wilbur at once, raining a sea of attacks on him at full force. The woman and her family smiled smugly. Anyone who dared to mess with them would just meet the same fate. Getting a beating was hardly enough to quell their anger. The authorities would get there any moment. This bastard was pretty much set for jail. Just as the first attack was about to hit Wilbur, he got up and swept a leg out in a flying kick. All at once, the men were sent flying a few meters backward. They cried out in pain, staring Wilbur in terror as none of them could get up. The woman and her family were shocked. They knew that Wilbur could fight. What they had not expected, however, was that he would be so good at it. 1 man against 8, and he had taken all of them down with just one move. Was he even human? Don't you dare come any closer. The woman's son started to panic as he had never seen such a skilled fighter before. The woman stood next to her son, significantly less cocky than before now. What mattered now was this guy might beat any of them up if he pleased. Whether or not he went to jail was not their immediate concern. The woman's husband was starting to regret telling the guards to leave. Just then, however, 2 policemen walked over. The woman's husband lit up as if he were beholding a knight in shining armor. He hurried over at once. "Officers, this man has been assaulting others." The officers glanced at the people lying on the ground, then at Wilbur. Finally, they looked at the woman and her family. The older of the 2 officers turned to the woman's husband. "Are you Secretary Dorian Caliph?" Yes, that's me." The officer frowned. "My name's Cameron Wench. Chief Law told us to come over." Dorian heaved a huge sigh at once, his tone turning authoritative. "In that case, arrest this man immediately. He's out of line." Chief Law was a friend of Dorian's, and it was he whom Dorian had asked to track Wilbur's whereabouts down. Dorian had called Chief Law just now as well, urging him to come over as soon as possible. It looked like these were the men he had sent. These were proper officers, and Dorian was certain that the bastard would not dare attack them. The round woman's expression seemed to switch in an instant, wailing as she stumbles over. Look, that man attacked my family and me earlier today, and now he's shown up in our neighborhood to beat our friends up too. He's too much. Arrest him. He needs to be dealt with seriously," the woman's son said, puffing his chest out once again. The family began to accuse and frame Wilbur in front of the officers. The woman was an especially good actress, playing the part of the victim perfectly. Wilbur smirked to himself at the sight. If this officer Cameron Wench guy dared to arrest him without doing any investigating at all, Wilbur was not going to play nice either. Cameron frowned, looking at Wilbur. "Are you responsible for these attacks?" "Yes, but they deserved it," said Wilbur. Cameron's tone turned cold at once. "You're coming back with us then. We've got a case to run on you." "It would only be fair if all of them went, no?" Cameron shouted. "They're the victims, of course. We're going to question them."